feel like you've had to come out as someone who works with psychedelics? Do you feel like it's very normal in your society? How do your friends and family, like your community, feel about what you do?
About a year and a half ago, I think now, I've decided to put an event on, the first online symposium on coaching and psychedelics, with a colleague of mine who was very unapologetically out there, and I came more from a cautious scientific perspective, and she came in from an activist perspective. We gelled quite well. We really like each other. So we put on this event, and as I was about to post that up on Facebook, I did definitely hesitate. It's like, who's gonna see this? Am I gonna be out myself? There's definitely opinions around, and associations and preconceptions about what does it mean, what do psychedelics mean. If somebody says, I'm working as a coach in the psychedelic space, that can brand you with certain people. My supervisor very clearly said some organizations will not hire you if they find out that you are involved in that kind of activity. I think so we need to ask ourselves some questions around how might that affect your career or your relationships. I think people who know and respect me, they will know that I'm a curious mind, and I have always explored space, and I've asked deep questions. So it would probably make a lot of sense for people knowing that, been working in that space. But there was certainly a concern. I'm married in a bit more conservative family, and I might move to Mexico in a couple of years. So there's, in a way, that's where a lot of that kind of culture comes from. But also there's people who think more conservatively. And so I was somewhat concerned, but at the end, I think we need to show up authentically and do what we're passionate about and what we're interested in. And I think the potential in this space is just enormous. And anybody who I'd have a conversation with, I can come from a scientific perspective. And I think this is something I've learned from my contacts in Berlin, from the Mind Foundation as well. As soon as you take a science perspective on this, and you're coming from an academic route, and you're saying, here's the evidence to support that it's useful to explore more and create more knowledge. And I believe I have enough academic grounding to make a solid argument that the work I'm doing is safe, useful, and worth exploring. So in that sense, I know some people will probably judge me, and I would not have a chance to have a conversation with them. Fair play, that's okay with me. But if somebody is surprised and they would ask me about it, I think we would have a really interesting conversation. And I might still not agree that, that is something worthwhile pursuing, maybe based on information or misinformation, or, as the war on drugs has been raging, and there's still in a lot of people's minds, it's the devil's drug that makes people go crazy. But I think the science very clearly says something else, and that's where I choose to get my knowledge from.
Do you want to be an advocate for psychedelic medicine? It sounds like you kind of maybe don't, that you want to allow people to come to their own conclusions, but do you feel that you do kind of want to stick up for psychedelics and help people understand that maybe?
Yeah, I think the evidence that it can be a tremendously powerful treatment for disorders and illnesses is there, and it's growing. So what I would like to see is more research, so that we can be absolutely sure that, this is the power that lies within using that within a coaching framework. I wouldn't say that I'm an advocate for... I think I can say I'm an advocate for psychedelic medicine. I think it's undoubtedly so much potential there, and we don't know quite enough yet to give everybody psychedelics. There's plenty of people who shouldn't take psychedelics. I'm convinced of that. So we need to create a bit more knowledge. But when it comes to coaching, it's not about general knowledge. It's not about trying to find the truth with a capital T. It's not about generalizing what is and isn't good for people. Coaching is about creating a space where people can make decisions and choices. So that's why, as a scientist, I'm an advocate of doing a lot more research into coaching and psychedelics as a medicine. Absolutely. As a coach, I'm not an advocate. I'm an advocate for people to make choices that will better their lives. And I think psychedelics have the potential to do that. I would encourage anybody to explore the potential that their life is offering and that life is offering. So in that sense, there's a difference between me, the scientist, and the academic, and me, the coach. And then there's me, Yannick.
So you're not an advocate on a personal level, but are you an advocate on a societal level, on a fight for it becoming legal so we can do research
100%. I think we need research. And I think the evidence is so clear that everything speaks for the potential. And I think it's important to explore that. So yes, absolutely. I can only see it go in one direction, which is that it's going to become an accepted medicine. It might take a while. The process to have MDMA, which is still in the family of psychedelics, as an accepted treatment method started in 1986 when Rick Doblin under MAPS first sent off a form and said, we need to be looking into this. So it took 30 years or so for it to go in phase 3 trials. When we look at coaching, I think Henrik Jungabler, he said there's an effort to look into coaching and psychedelics on an academic level, but he reckons it's going to be another 10 years or so until we have some more solid findings. It's incredibly difficult to study coaching as it is because it's so ill-defined and there's such a broad range of what it is and isn't, and it's so dependent on the relationship between coach and client that it's difficult to find out which kind of methodology might be more powerful. So there's huge methodological flaws when we're trying to research it. That's why I've moved a little bit away from the science of coaching because it's a very individual one-to-one thing. I value it. It's important to look into it and create arguments for it to gather some data. But when it comes to coaching, it's a one-to-one thing. It's giving a client a space where they can make decisions and choices about their life and they take responsibility. That's my existential philosophy. We take responsibility for our choices. I want to create a space where people can powerfully change their lives. And it's been shown that both experientially and also from the research that psychedelics can offer that to people to powerfully change their lives and gain new insights from a completely new perspective. That's saying that when you step back a step and look at your situation from the outside. Psychedelics often means you're, going into orbit and looking down not just a few steps, but like getting a completely fresh perspective on your life and how you're living it. So the potential of that is amazing. You just need to keep people safe. That's it. And I think when coaching clients will know how to keep themselves safe and they know best. And if I ever feel that somebody's not safe, I'll say something, I'll challenge them on that. If they still want to do something that I would deem as unsafe, I will have to reconsider whether I want to keep supporting them on that road.